Hi, welcome. Enjoy the content, subscribe, and turn on notifications.
Michael woke up to the aroma of the fresh coffee Olivia made every morning. The sun gently slipped through the bedroom curtains, filling the room with a warm golden light. He stretched out in bed, feeling the peace of another day with the woman he loved. 7 years together, and it still felt like that same passionate beginning. Olivia was already in the kitchen, quietly humming while she buttered some toast. The radio played a calm song, and the smell of coffee blended with the scent of bread fresh out of the toaster. When Michael appeared in the kitchen doorway, she smiled. "Good morning, sleepyhead." "Good morning, honey." He stepped closer, hugging her from behind and planting a kiss on her shoulder. "This smells amazing." They had a simple but happy routine. Little gestures like these kept their marriage strong. Over the years, they never let the day-to-day grind cool things between them. They still had candlelit dinners, laughed at silly things, and cherished every moment together. Their friends always remarked on how perfect they seemed as a couple, and in many ways, they were. Michael sat at the table, scrolling through a few news articles on his phone while Olivia gazed out the kitchen window, taking in their well-tended garden. That's when she noticed something new. On the other side of the fence, the house next door, empty for months, suddenly showed signs of life. A moving truck was parked in the driveway, and a few people were unloading furniture and boxes. "Looks like we have new neighbors," Olivia said, leaning in for a better view. Michael glanced up from his phone. "Really? Wonder who they are." "I'm not sure, but they look young. I saw a couple outside a little while ago." "We'll go over soon to say hello," he said, taking a sip of his coffee without giving it much thought. Olivia kept watching. That house rarely had any activity. The previous residents were an elderly couple who, after selling the place, went to live with their daughter in another city. For months, the house stayed empty, no sign of life, until now. The new couple seemed completely different from the former residents. They had a modern, carefree vibe. The woman was blonde, with long wavy hair, wearing short shorts and a loose tank top. The man was athletic, easily carrying boxes. He wore only shorts, no shirt, showing off tattoos on his arms and chest. Olivia watched them talking, laughing, and hugging each other without a care. She couldn't quite pinpoint why, but something about them intrigued her. "I have to go," Michael said, standing up and grabbing his car keys. He moved close to Olivia and kissed her forehead. "See you tonight." "See you later, honey." She walked with him to the door and paused for a moment, watching him get into the car and drive away. Then she went back to the kitchen and picked up her coffee, still hot. She couldn't help but notice the house next door again. The movers seemed to be finishing up, and the couple was now bringing just a few smaller boxes inside. Olivia wondered what they did for a living. Did they work? Have kids? Minutes later, she returned to wash the dishes at the kitchen sink, which had a direct view of the new neighbor's backyard. Right in the center of that yard, a pool sparkled in the sun. Many houses in the neighborhood had pools, but something about the layout of that house and the couple's style made her curious. She stood there for a while, not really paying attention to what she was doing. The couple went inside, and the neighborhood went quiet again. Olivia sighed and forced herself back into her routine. It was just another regular day. But deep down, she felt that this couple would bring changes to her life. She had no idea how deep those changes would go. The next day, Michael left early for work as usual. Olivia stayed home, enjoying the quiet morning. She made her coffee, opened the curtains to let in the sunshine, and started her day. She washed the breakfast dishes, organized some cupboards, and grabbed her laptop to answer emails. Life went on at its normal pace. But when she got up to get a glass of water, her eyes, almost by accident, drifted toward the kitchen window. Across the fence, at the newly occupied house, the morning stillness was broken by the sound of water splashing. The neighbors were in the pool. At first, Olivia quickly looked away. She felt a twinge of discomfort, like she was intruding on a private moment. But the houses were so close that it was impossible not to notice, especially because something about that couple demanded attention. She hesitated. She knew she shouldn't stay there, watching. But before she realized it, her eyes found their way back to the scene. And then she saw something that made her hold her breath. Chloe and Ethan, completely naked, laughing and hugging each other in the pool. The ease with which they were there, unbothered, with no fear of being seen, left Olivia unsettled. Her first instinct was to move away. Her heart pounded, and she felt heat rising to her face. She grabbed her glass of water quickly and tried to focus on something else. She walked to the living room and opened a book, but the words blurred. She couldn't get the image out of her mind. It was impossible to avoid. Every time she passed through the kitchen, every time she needed something in that part of the house, she knew that on the other side, that couple was there, sharing their intimacy like nobody else existed. At first, she felt embarrassed. But as the days went by, something inside her began to change. Curiosity got the best of her. She realized that the couple had a fixed schedule, and Olivia started picking up on the times they usually went to the pool. She told herself it wasn't intentional. Still, somehow, she always found a reason to be in the kitchen at those exact moments. She pretended to be busy, washing an already clean plate, reorganizing something on the counter, wiping down an area that wasn't even dirty. In reality, she was waiting. Waiting for them to show up. And when they did, Olivia couldn't look away. They were different. They had this energy, a sense of freedom, something she'd never experienced. Ethan and Chloe seemed not to care about the world around them. They lived by their own rules, as if nothing else mattered. Then it happened. Olivia realized Chloe was looking directly at the window. Her heart pounded. She felt her blood run cold. For a second, she thought she was imagining it. But then she saw Chloe and Ethan exchange a glance. They had noticed her. Her face burned. She backed away from the window, her heart racing. She tried to convince herself it might have just been a coincidence. But the next day, she was sure. When Olivia, accidentally, looked over there again, Chloe smiled. And it wasn't a casual smile, it was filled with meaning. Ethan put his arm around his wife and whispered something in her ear, never taking his eyes off the window. Olivia was certain they were talking about her. Worst of all, instead of covering up or acting embarrassed, they started teasing each other even more. Lingering touches. Deeper kisses. Deliberate moves. They knew they were being watched. And they liked it. Olivia felt a mix of fear and fascination. Everything inside her screamed to turn away, to ignore it, to pretend none of this was happening. But deep down, it was already too late. On Saturday morning, Michael came down for breakfast looking relaxed. He sat at the table, poured himself some coffee, and unfolded the newspaper, something Olivia had always found charming. But this morning, she was restless. Her body was there, but her mind was somewhere else. Michael noticed his wife's distraction. "What are you thinking about?" he asked, folding the paper. It took Olivia an extra second to answer. "Huh? Oh, nothing." He smiled and got up, taking his cup to the sink. "You know, we still haven't gone over to welcome the neighbors. I think we should drop by today, don't you?" Olivia's heart skipped a beat. "Oh. Michael. I don't think that's necessary. They seem pretty private. That's exactly why we should go. I think it's good to know who's living next to us." She tried to argue, but Michael wouldn't be swayed. Deep down, she was afraid. What if they said something? What if they mentioned the looks, the moments in the pool, those teasing smiles? But Michael had made up his mind. About an hour later, they stood on the neighbor's porch. Olivia was nervously twisting her hands as Michael rang the doorbell. They heard footsteps inside. Then the door opened. Chloe greeted them with a bright smile, wearing a short, lightweight dress. "Hi, neighbors." Ethan appeared behind her, shirtless as usual, leaning casually against the door frame. "What a nice surprise. Come on in." Olivia wanted to say no, to grab Michael's arm and make up some excuse. But it was too late. They went in. Their house was modern and tastefully decorated. There was a mix of elegance and a laid-back style. The furniture was high-end, but there was a sense of freedom in the air that Olivia didn't feel in her own home. Michael and Ethan quickly struck up a conversation about sports and work, while Chloe poured white wine for everyone. Olivia sat on the couch, trying to avoid looking directly at either of them, especially Chloe. But she felt her neighbor's eyes on her. "You and your husband make such a nice couple," Chloe said, handing Olivia a glass. 7 years, right? That's impressive. Oh, yeah. Thanks. Olivia took the glass, feeling uncomfortable. It must be hard to keep everything exciting after all that time, huh? The wine almost went down the wrong way. Olivia coughed lightly and forced a smile. "We get along really well." Chloe tilted her head, giving Olivia a penetrating look, like she could see more than what was being said. "That's great. Ethan and I do too. We love keeping our spark alive, you know." Michael, not paying attention to their exchange, laughed at something Ethan said. Olivia, on the other hand, felt like each word Chloe spoke had a hidden meaning. And it did. The conversation went on, with Ethan cracking a few jokes that made Michael laugh. Olivia stayed tense. She couldn't tell if her uneasiness was from fearing what the neighbors might say or from the way Chloe looked at her, like she was enjoying all of this. After about an hour, Michael decided it was time to leave. He thanked them for their hospitality, complimented the wine, and shook Ethan's hand. Chloe hugged Olivia, just a quick touch, but enough to send a shiver through her. "Come visit me any time. We can have coffee." The way Chloe said it didn't sound like a harmless invitation. Back home, Michael was in a good mood. "They seem really nice, right?" Olivia forced a smile. "Yeah, they're friendly." Michael didn't notice her uncertain tone. To him, it was just normal neighborly interaction. But Olivia knew it wasn't. A few days later, Chloe knocked on their door. "I brought cake." Olivia, caught off guard, took the plate. "Wow, that's so thoughtful." Chloe smiled and strolled inside like it was the most natural thing in the world. "Hope you like it. I made it with lots of care." They sat in the kitchen, and before Olivia knew it, they were laughing and talking like old friends. Chloe had a captivating, magnetic presence. She talked about travel, life, desires, about how people spend years living like they're trapped in invisible cages. "I think everyone has a side they hide," Chloe said, taking a bite of the cake. "What do you mean?" "A side that wants more. That wants to feel alive." Olivia didn't know how to answer. Then Chloe dropped the bomb. "You should come swim with us sometime." All the air seemed to leave the room. "What? Oh, come on. It's just a pool. You've seen a few times, right?" Olivia's face went hot. No, relax. I know you saw." Chloe leaned her elbow on the table, eyes locked on Olivia. "No need to be embarrassed. It's fun. You can wear a bikini if you want." Olivia wanted to refuse. She wanted to say it was crazy, that it made no sense. But no words came out. And then she heard herself saying something she never expected. "Maybe," Chloe smiled. That night, Olivia tossed and turned in bed for hours. Michael slept peacefully by her side while her thoughts spun in circles. Everything Chloe said echoed in her head. You've seen a few times, right? No need to be embarrassed. It's fun. You can wear a bikini if you want. She tried to push the thoughts away, but they kept coming back stronger. The invitation felt like an invisible rope pulling her toward an unknown place. She knew she should ignore it, act like it never happened. But a part of her, a part she didn't want to admit existed, felt drawn to the idea. The next morning, Michael left early for work. Olivia was alone, trying to get on with her day. But nothing felt normal. By mid-afternoon, she heard a noise coming from the neighbor's place. It was the pool. Her heart pounded. With shaky hands, she walked to the kitchen. She didn't want to look. She shouldn't look. But her eyes, as if they had a mind of their own, went straight to the yard next door. They were there. Ethan and Chloe, free and uninhibited, laughing like they owned the world. As if sensing she was watching, Chloe slowly turned her head, meeting Olivia's gaze through the window. She smiled. Then, without hesitating, she made a small gesture with her hand, inviting Olivia to join them. Olivia could barely breathe. She stood there, frozen, her heart pounding in her chest. It was a silent invitation. She could just ignore it. But she didn't. Before she realized, she was crossing her own yard. Each step felt like an earthquake inside her. When she reached the gate that divided the two properties, she paused. That's when she heard Chloe's voice. "I thought you wouldn't come." Ethan smiled. "Come on in." Olivia took a deep breath. Everything inside her screamed to turn back. But her hands moved on their own, pushing the gate open. The hot pavement around the pool warmed her bare feet. The air smelled like chlorine and sunscreen. Chloe stood up from the edge of the pool and walked over to her. "Did you bring a swimsuit?" Olivia opened her mouth but couldn't speak. "That's okay," Chloe said. "No one cares about that here." Ethan chuckled softly. "Let's go. You've already seen it a few times. Now you can feel how it is." Olivia's heart thumped so loudly she could hear it in her ears. Adrenaline surged through her veins. Logic tried to fight back, but it got drowned out by an overwhelming rush. Before she could stop herself, she felt the straps of her clothing sliding off her shoulders. Time seemed to slow down. The water was warm. The sensation was different. Their laughter mixed with the rustle of leaves in the wind. She was there. In that moment, she knew she'd crossed a line she could never uncross. But instead of regret, she felt something addictive, like she'd broken free of some invisible chain she hadn't known she was carrying. In the days that followed, she wanted more. Every time Michael left for work, Olivia could hardly wait until his car turned the corner before rushing to the house next door. Their meetings became frequent. With each passing day, her excitement grew. The thrill, the secrecy, the rush. But secrets never stay hidden forever. Soon, the truth would come out. That afternoon was hot and stuffy, the cloudless sky adding to the odd stillness in the neighborhood. Olivia felt the sun burning her skin as she stretched out on a lounge chair by the neighbor's pool. Her body still buzzed with adrenaline, muscles relaxed by the warm water. Chloe laughed beside her, absent-mindedly stirring a glass of cold juice. Ethan stood on the other side of the pool, flashing that confident grin he always wore, as if he had everything under control. It felt no different from the other days. But there was a detail. Michael's car wasn't in the driveway. And Olivia hadn't received any messages saying he'd come home early. She should have realized. But she was too wrapped up in the moment to notice the time. Until, in the late afternoon, a distant noise made her blood run cold. The sound of the front door opening. Olivia's mind went blank. She couldn't breathe. She turned quickly, looking at Chloe and Ethan. They'd heard it too. Michael was home. For a second, the world stopped. Then reality hit her like an electric shock. She froze. Chloe and Ethan scrambled out of the pool. Olivia grabbed a towel, her hands shaking uncontrollably. Michael's voice echoed from inside the house. Olivia? Her blood drained from her face. The kitchen. The kitchen window. He was right there. His gaze traveled from the kitchen window to the scene at the pool. Olivia, naked. Chloe and Ethan beside her. Michael's eyes went wide. Time stretched into a long, silent moment. Shock washed over his face, then horror, then something worse. Rage. A raw, fierce anger Olivia had never seen before. Then he shouted. Olivia. His voice boomed like thunder. The jolt ran through her, leaving her speechless. Chloe and Ethan moved quickly, grabbing towels. Olivia clutched hers, panic thrumming in her veins. Michael vanished from the window. Seconds later, the neighbor's doorbell rang loudly. Once. Twice. 3 times. Then harsh pounding on the door. Open this damn door. Olivia couldn't breathe. Michael, please, her voice was barely a whisper. Chloe and Ethan exchanged a look, and Ethan let out a low, ironic chuckle. He doesn't seem too happy. Olivia felt the ground slip out from under her. What had she done? She hurried to the living room, but before she could reach the door, Michael was already inside. His face was a storm of emotions. What did you do? He asked, disbelief flooding every word. Olivia tried to speak, tried to find words to explain, to justify. But there was no justification. Michael, you what? Silence filled the room. He ran his hands through his hair, taking a deep breath, trying to hold back his fury. I loved you, Olivia. I trusted you. 7 years together. And you throw it all away for this? His voice broke on the last word. Chloe and Ethan were silent, watching calmly, like they'd been here before. In a way, they had. Michael looked at them, then back at Olivia. It's over. His words hit like a sentence. Michael, please, it's over, Olivia. This temptation cost us our marriage. He left. And Olivia felt her world crumble. In the days that followed, the breakup happened quickly. The house went up for sale. 7 years of marriage boiled down to signed papers and packing up furniture. Michael moved on. Olivia, well, she had to live with the consequences. But the story wasn't quite finished. A few weeks later, Michael met a friend for coffee. Their conversation was casual until, by chance, the topic of the neighbors came up. You won't believe what happened, Michael said, without giving too many details. His friend was silent for a moment, then asked, wait, were their names Ethan and Chloe? Michael frowned. Yeah. His friend sighed. Man, they had to leave the old neighborhood where they used to live. Michael sat there, stunned. What? Yeah. They threw a lot of, let's say, very open-minded parties. The neighbors there flipped out and got them kicked out. For a moment, they both went quiet. Michael closed his eyes, feeling a mixture of anger and frustration. And they moved in right next door to me. His friend nodded. Unfortunately. Michael took a deep breath. But nothing justifies what Olivia did. His friend didn't reply. He just sipped his coffee, letting the silence say everything. Life went on. Michael moved forward. And Olivia? She could only wonder where and when Ethan and Chloe would do it all over again. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss any updates. See you next time.